Welcome to the DMF. I'm Justin Younts. This is part four.
And I've always been an advocate of women in like non-traditional roles.
Yeah,
I don't, I think they could do more than just girls next door or whatever it is, or crazy psychopath.
yeah,
So I've always been an advocate of that. And just looking at it, it's like, wow, we have an opportunity to do something no one's done yet.
yeah,
And I thought that was quite exciting. And, you can almost trailblaze
yeah.
a little bit. And even though it wasn't well received at first, because for that very reason, because it hadn't been done yet.
Really, it wasn't. What do you
And
mean by that? It wasn't.
uh, we were told, various people in distribution, women's mixed martial arts. They didn't think there'd be interest in that. People don't really want to see that, or women in these types of
So this
roles.
is
You know
before
what I
it's
mean?
even made.
It was before it was even
Oh,
made.
okay.
Before it was even made, I was already talking to distributors and what do you think a concept like this would do in the market? And
Yeah,
just getting some feedback, and then we went in the market to get feedback, and then ultimately had to make a decision whether it's a viable thing to pursue or not. Right?
yeah,
Ultimately, it was, but the initial feedback, industry wise, was like. Don't know, and that's partly why is because it hadn't been done before, and there was
so
a
we're
lot of
talking like 2016, 2017.
2016, yes,
Yeah,
and would it sell? Would it not sell? Is there even any interest in it? So we announced that we were gonna do it. I think in 2016 sometime.
yeah,
In 2017, Halle Berry announced that she's going into production with Bruised to
okay,
do a women's mixed martial arts film. And I was like, great. I hope it's like she's going to be first. I'm like, that's wonderful. She'll set
yeah,
the path, maybe a little bit of a pathway for that and demand. And I'm like, I hope it does really well. Right. All it's going to do is help everything that comes out after her. So she came out. The film was a financial success,
okay.
and it came out during the pandemic, I think, and it
Oh,
came out on Netflix. Which I remember after it came out on Netflix, they did a deal with her for I don't know how many other pictures. So they must have liked whatever the numbers were, right?
yeah,
And it's Halle Berry, so she's going to draw an audience every time, right?
yeah,
So now today it's interesting because I've been saying there's a lot more of these films coming out now, like with women's, um, in these combat sports roles, non-traditional roles, because Queen of the Ring.
yeah.
I
I
guess
saw
you would have
that. That was a
seen
good film.
that. Did you see it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It
I
was.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it,
that came out.
yeah. That
You
came
know,
out. It kind of came and went. It was kind of like I saw it like the last day before it left the movie theater.
yeah.
It's more of a traditional movie as opposed to like, The Iron Claw where it's very, what drama's there, but it was really good. These are really good stories that they're telling,
That
and
they're
you're right.
telling now. Yeah.
You
Well,
got the
yeah.
Christie one, I think that
Yes,
Sydney Sweeney's doing. That's gonna
yes.
be good.
That one's coming out as well. And so now I'm starting to see this, and I always say, "Oh, we were right there at the beginning." So if we were ahead of that trend a little bit, kind of trailblaze, I'm really
Yeah.
happy about that. No matter what happens, at the end of the day, that we were actually able to like be on that wave. And I'm sure there's going to be more that come out after it, but it also proves that people want to see these stories and that there is a market for it. And the demand is there for it.
Yeah. Now you win over 30 awards for this movie, including the Palladino Doro International Sports Film Festival. Talk about, the accolations that you got from doing this. This was kind of a labor of love. I mean, you did this during the pandemic. This was hard, it sounds like you had a lot of things working against you. So in order to make this work and to get, to see the feedback and see that, see the reception it's getting, because I've seen the film, and it's a really good film, and seeing all the, the accolades, that's got to be humbling and just yeah, Tell me a little bit how you feel.
It in all the planning with this movie and late nights and trying to get it done, and all the discussions I've had with it with my wife and Jason, who is our DP and editor, like so many late nights we're trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
I've always thought about the film, getting it completed, signing distribution, getting it into the market, audiences screening it, how would audiences respond, all of those things. I never actually thought about awards. It never really popped into my mind.
But that's what makes you
um
great because that's the way you should be looking at it. It's like you're not you're if you're doing it for the award, then it's, I mean, the fact that you already like, I'm expecting nothing. I'm expecting to put this out in the marketplace for this to be good. Everything else is just, great, like in some
yeah,
ways.
yeah, it's just I just never thought about, considered it, just it just wasn't on my radar or scope. And then all of a sudden things started happening. I think it was there was what was it, our first event that we went to, I think, was locally, and it was Hollywood North Film Awards or something, and we were nominated for a few categories.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is nice. And then our makeup, our prosthetics makeup people won,
Yeah.
obviously, that award. And it's like, oh my god, this is so great. The production had a couple of nominations and we won an award, and I thought that was great and left it at that, right? And then
Yeah.
I think about it, and then the next month later, we were at another event in New York, I think International Film Awards, and then we won, I think it was like 14 awards, I think,
Yeah.
there, like best feature, best fight choreography, multiple stuff. I think best directorial debut too, I got
Yeah.
there as well. And then I started thinking, oh my god, I never actually, I think that was the moment where I'm like, wow, I never actually considered we would be recognized for our work on this, right?
And now we can call you an
uh
award-winning director, you know?
y- yeah.
Good for
And
you.
yeah, and you brought up the Palladino Doro International Sports Film Festival,
Yeah. That was in
which
December.
that was in December. It's the oldest film festival, sports film festival, 44 years in the world.
Yeah.
And I remember I was there and I saw something with Michael Mann, I guess, won an award there in the 70s, right?
Uh-huh.
Some a direct. I was like, really? it
Wow.
was just it was just like one of those things. And but we went through there, and I didn't know what was going to happen there, and I just wasn't sure, right?
Yeah.
And there was so many films that were represented at the event, and so many people internationally from like all over the world. I think they had 140 titles, features, documentaries, shorts, whatever it was. And and then they do this big gala award in this old opera house. And even when we went there that night, I thought,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we might get nominated for some things, right? I wasn't sure. Like I
Yeah.
literally, I just because it's a little surreal, like,
Yeah.
oh, people actually, there's an audience that actually has received the film very well, so that from a director's chair is like, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And to see like the actors having been acknowledged over the year for their performances from a director standpoint is great. I think I was more proud of that when I think Carly, our lead, had won a couple of awards along the way too for
Yeah.
her performance as lead, and some of the supporting actors had picked up some awards, which I was really proud of that because obviously I'm very focused on the acting, and I
Yeah.
wanted it to be really good in the film. But even that night, I figured we might be nominated for some things, and I thought it'd be nice if we were nominated for like best sports film, which is their top award, right?
Yeah.
And I says that would be pretty cool if we had just got nominated, right? And so the night went on. I think we were nominated for like 6 or 7 different categories, but the one that we won in just never really was one I never thought about, like best director, right?
Yeah.
It's so much so that they announced the award. I didn't even know what was going on. I was just like, oh, this is like, wow, look at this place. Like, there's so many people here. There's like 500 people here. Who are all these people, right?
Yeah.
Looking up in the stands, it's packed, and like, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and then they're doing this announcement, and I didn't even catch it, and then all these people are staring at me, and my wife's tapping at me. I'm like, what's going on? What? And I'm like trying to give me the signal to. I'm like, what are you talking about? You just won the best director award. And I'm like, I did. Really? Oh, what do I do now? You got to go up
That's
there.
exactly that's exactly how I see it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's great. So what did that feel
And
like?
it was surreal, and
That's right.
and it was definitely a surreal experience, and I was a little bit disconnected from myself because I'm like, is this really happening? What is happening? I'm trying to like get to the stage, and then all of a sudden, oh shoot, I have to say something, right?
Yeah.
And
This
because didn't
giant
really
opera house with all these people here.
packed people, and never thought about, oh wait a minute, if I win I should have like something prepared, right? I guess I just never actually thought about winning or
Yeah.
whatever. I just thought it'd be nice to be nominated for stuff. I figured, oh, maybe our actors are gonna win something, right?
Yeah.
And I think I told them, oh, you guys should be prepared, right? I just never thought about it from my standpoint.
You be prepared.
Uh,
Yeah.
and then I'm walking up there. Oh shoot! I actually got to say something. So I'm also thinking about, oh, what am I going to say up there, right? And get up on stage and just the formalities, the politeness, whatever I had to do. But then it took me a few days to just catch up with the moment
Yeah.
and just realize how significant and fortunate I was, in that moment to have that experience. And going back, looking at it on video has been great because, as I said, there was like this moment where it's like, you know, like it's like a Doctor Strange thing, when he gets like punched in the gut and his spirit leaves his body, and you're looking from the outside
Yeah.
in, and you're like, what is happening right now? And yeah,
Yeah.
all these things going on. But yeah, we were very, I was very fortunate to be presented that award by them. And again, being the oldest sports film festival in the world, and just the sheer amount of titles, I wouldn't have never thought there were so many various sports films that were made that year with
Yeah. But to win, beat out
yeah,
all those other films, that's awesome.
it
That's
was,
so great.
yeah, it was amazing. So but yeah, that was quite the experience, right?
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your short film, Starry Eyed, which for me personally is my favorite thing that you've done. Actually,
Wow,
I
okay.
really like Starry Eyed. I
Oh really?
really,
Okay.
really like Starry because I like the way it's cut. I like all the colors. I like the way it's used. I like the story that you were telling. I just thought it was really unique. Could you talk a little bit about Starry Eyed? I know you probably weren't
Yeah,
expecting me to say that, but I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I
So
really I love it. I
so
have it on
Starry,
on my
yeah.
phone.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
you're one of the first people to see it because it'll be out next year. It's going to
Okay.
start a festival run in 2026. So it's interesting hearing your feedback on
Yeah.
it outside the circle. Now,
Is
uh,
this okay to talk about that, or do
oh
you
yes, 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 yes.
okay,
So we can definitely talk
okay.
about it. The whole concept was from, so Carlo Molo, who this will be his directorial debut, was
Mhm.
also the writer behind it, and it was also a project that got a little bit challenged as well because the original story that he wrote was not what we ended up with. It was one of those that had to morph and
Really?
adapt. Like, for example, the role was initially a male lead,
Okay.
and we auditioned a lot of people for that role, but uh, obviously you'll see two women there. The one with the auburn hair,
Yeah.
came into audition, and she had done such a good job. All of a sudden, we started envisioning the whole concept a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And so as we discussed it and talked about it, that character, all of a sudden, it wasn't just like a switch, it morphed into a completely kind of different character. It wasn't just a gender thing. A lot of things changed along with that. um, but that changed as a result of what we saw in an audition room, right?
Interesting.
Somebody coming into an audition room being so well prepared and just outperforming everybody else
All the
that
men, they didn't do
walked
anything.
into. We literally were like, oh shoot, do you mind reading this role? It was written for a guy, but you can put your own kind of interpretation on it. And she did, and literally went, yeah, circles around a lot of the guys we saw, right? But again, it speaks to preparedness, being prepared for stuff. um, so it morphed a bit, and uh, it, it ends up becoming this story,
Yeah.
more about, we can reflect on. People are going to have different interpretations, so this is where I'm being
It's
a little bit careful
abstract.
here. Yeah,
It's very
it's quite
abstract.
abstract, very art housey. There's going to be different interpretations. Ultimately, it does come down to a self-love kind of issue, regardless of how it's interpreted. It's also a project that we wanted to provide an opportunity, because to some of the local film schools, because
Mm,
they had graduating students. And the most difficult thing sometimes we also found with them, even though the final cut, a lot of people didn't make it in there. But sometimes with people graduating film school, that first credit really opens up a lot of doors, and it's hard to get there. So the set, as we were talking earlier, what do? Get on any set, um, by any means necessary. They all came on as volunteers to learn to see how a set was run, and kind of be in it. A lot of them did background. It was like real world experience for them, right? And so we incorporated a lot of that there, although you see like bits of it just because of the way it was cut and edited at the end. But essentially, this is a story I think Carlo was living with for a long time. Just had it on paper, wanted to tell, and had to morph and adapt and move with it and change, because in real, it was sometimes with stories, it's very interesting. And this is where you, as writers and directors, you got to be careful, because they will take their own form. It's like there's life that you breathe into it, and it's almost like you're a parent, and now your job is just to guide it, because it is taking its own form, and it's kind of telling you what it needs to be, and you just can't stifle it, right? And Starry Eyed was one of those that once it had that bit of life breathed into it, it was dictating itself. It was, this is a story, this is going to be, right?
yeah.
And adapt and conform to it. And it's going to be better than maybe what you thought it was going to be in the beginning, right?
Yeah. Were you
Um,
were you always planning to direct it with uh
I was supporting Carlo in his directorial debut, right?
okay.
So that's where my position was, not just on the producing side.
Okay.
And so I have done a lot of, or I have been doing a lot of that as well. Because, like I said, there's a lot of talent in Toronto, and there are um, other filmmakers that I do pass on a lot of my knowledge, experience, and support, and want to help elevate, and whatever I can do to pay things forward, right?
Yeah.
So, but initially, to answer your question, yeah, in the conversations, that's what was supposed to happen. I would have co-directed it with Carlo, but you know, film, as you've heard, director's medium. I wanted to support his debut,
Yeah.
right? His directorial debut on this. So
Okay. Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. Now you have another film that's about to come out. Um, I don't know what we can say about it, but Let
Yeah,
Go. Um, what can you tell people about this film? I've seen it. I like it. I
yeah,
really like. I really like the ending. But let's.
yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
Let Go is it's an art house film, and it's a very much a European style art house film. Obviously, it takes place across Europe. I forgot how many countries are represented through there because it was literally shot in. It's part of the storyline. There's a road trip that happens across Europe, so so it was shot in various cities along there. But essentially, it's about in Let Go. We actually you're going to see Alex Cruz and Carly Rose again. And for those who are listening, they might sound familiar because you just saw them in EFC. And it wasn't really planned like that. It just kind of worked out like that. Alex was always going to be the lead in that film. Obviously, Randy had him pegged as the director. Carly came in later into the picture, um, but I like to tell people that with Carly, when I first met her, um, one of the because if you see her and you meet her in real life, she's a very nice person and really really kind human being. And so I said to her, I said, you might have an issue because casting directors might look at you and be like, "Oh, you're such a nice person." And how could they ever really even consider her for certain types of roles, right? Going
Yeah.
back to non-traditional female roles. But when I saw her in like the most craziest um, types of roles, messy,
Yeah.
just downright like, so EFC brought out some messiness,
Mhm.
but when I saw her in Let Go, when I'm looking at the cuts and everything in the film, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is literally what I was seeing when I first met her, right? So
Yeah.
when I first met her, so the performances in there, I'm very proud of them too.
Yeah.
Just because I felt like they went to places that, again, you got to put the work in because how do you get there if you're not putting those reps in, right?
Yeah.
Um, um, but not to stray too much. So we're going to see them in Let Go, and essentially Keon, which is the role that Alex plays, he goes back to Europe because for his whole life he's been questioning the disappearance of like the love of his life before he got married, and it's just something that stayed with him. He never knew what happened to her. He ends up going to Europe to kind of go on this journey that they were supposed to go on together. um, a lot of drugs get mixed up in this little trip here, and there's a lot of confusion as to who is who and who may be lying and who may not be lying, right? But essentially, it's a journey of self discovery because he's got to go deep to let go of a lot of unresolved, I would say, issues he has within himself, right?
Yeah.
And so Let Go takes you on one heck of a journey, right? Not just across Europe, but like an internal, like personal journey of discovery. So it's psychological thriller in the art house vein. I'm really proud of Ranny again, who directed this film. I
And was
thought he
the
did.
cinematographer as well in this.
Yes, and another guy with multiple hats. He did an amazing job with it.
Yeah.
I think this will be like his kind of standout film as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're really really proud of him on that, and that'll be out in 2026 though, and
Yeah.
we're
Okay.
preparing that for a festival run as well. I think even if we get closer to the time, even you just talking with both of them, actually, I think
Yes,
you
I'd love to
have
have
a
you on.
lot in common
I'd love to do
from
that.
that perspective, right?
Yeah.
But for Alex and Alex essentially he is getting a lot of interesting roles right now.
Great.
I know he has one upcoming this month on a Netflix project. I don't know if I can talk about it, but
Okay.
so I won't
No.
say anything. But it's interesting for him coming off of again a film like EFC, um, where he was recognized for his work. Him and Carly,
Yeah.
that also being commercially released, it's still being released in various markets. To immediately,
Yeah, you can
you know,
watch it
coming
on
to let
Tubi,
go.
and you can with EFC, you can watch it on Tubi, you can watch it
Yeah,
on Amazon Prime. Um,
yeah.
I bought it on I rented it on Amazon Prime.
On Amazon Prime. Yeah, in the US, pretty much it's available across all digital platforms.
Okay.
We're in Spain, we're on Prime, which
Okay.
apparently it's been one of our biggest markets right now. Surprisingly,
All
the
right.
film was dubbed in Spanish and it's available on Prime out there and it's doing quite well apparently.
That's
So
good. That's good. That's good
yeah,
news.
yeah.
Um, you also have something in development called Genesis. Do you want to talk at all about this?
Yes. I always say Genesis was the film I've always wanted to do. If don't do anything after that, I think I would have fulfilled my purpose or mission,
Okay.
other than aiding other filmmakers and directors. But if that was it, I would be quite, I think I would feel complete when it's done, right?
Yeah.
It's another story I've been living with quite for some time. And it's been interesting. Again, I talk about stories taking their form and morphing.
Mm.
Um, this was one the first concept for Genesis was around original thought theory. Because if you look around, you wonder why aren't we, are we still capable of having original thoughts? Are we thinking original, or are we just looping and recycling everything that's been
Are we
said or
just in
done
a mach-
before?
Are we
Right?
just in a machine that like is the simulacra and simulation?
Yeah, it was tough to say, and then essentially that started to become a the story of what Genesis was going to be, and it was at first. Again, it took 6 years to get like a production ready script and a script where we're now about to pitch, big actors and stuff like that. Maybe a little bit longer,
Great.
but the initial reiteration of it was. It steered heavy on the philosophy side of things.
Mm.
And then there was a moment where that script took its own form. It had its own life, and it's hard to explain that intangible moment, but I know when it's happening, and I know not to interfere with the process. And then uh, the story morphed into something greater because I'm calling it now. It's going to be the Matrix for the next generation. That type of a film that could stand that test of a time for that group of the generation behind us, right?
Yeah.
And essentially now we have Genesis, not so which still revolves around original thought theory, but we look at it as almost an economy of scale run by AI in terms of how original thoughts are being monetized. So now we go into more of what exactly is an original thought.
Yeah.
It's so much deeper. And the story that it morphed into is probably one of the most emotional like stories I think I've probably for sure ever written, but one of the most emotional screenplays I think I've read in the past few years, right? And it was interesting for me to sit back and read it because I was writing it,
Yeah.
but I'm reading this like, oh my God, this is like really good. And it's so emotional. And it's like, but I remember writing it. I was literally writing it. I mean, my wife says, "Yeah, you're in some kind of a trance, and you're just kind of like just
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
beast mode on it in some trance mode." And I'm like, "Yeah," because I'm reading this, and it's so good to me. It's like, but I remember writing this, but
Yeah.
I just keep turning the pages, and it's like, wow, this is
Outside
like,
of yourself, having an out of body experience.
yeah, yeah, and that's always a good thing when that happens because you know that intangible like it took life, and you're supporting its growth now. You're not stifling it in terms of where it's at, but it's a sci-fi thriller. And so it's along that lines. I would say if you think of The Arrival, in terms of how smart that was in terms of sci-fi, and if you look at
What you're talking about Arrival, the one that Denis
with
Villeneuve made.
yes, yes,
With
correct.
because The Arrival is a
Was a
film
Charlie
with Charlie
Sheen.
Sheen. I
Yeah.
was just like, wait a minute, this
Yeah,
movie?
not
So
that one.
I knew what
Yeah,
you're talking about, but I just
yeah,
wanted to specify for everyone, like, not that Arrival.
yeah, not that Arrival.
There are a million.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's frustrating. There's like 50 movies that all have like Arrival or something in it. It's
Or
like,
The
okay,
Arrival, or
oh yeah,
this, or
but
yeah,
yeah, but I know what you're talking
yeah,
about. I just wanted to clarify. But
yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah, yeah,
the listeners, I don't want you to think that we're talking about the Charlie Sheen movie.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for clarifying that one. Yeah. um and yeah, that mixed with like the epicness of like Interstellar,
Yeah,
and that's where we're going with Genesis. And I think the reason I'm excited about it, I feel like it's going to be a timeless story, and I it's just hard to tell, or hard to calculate how to make these things that could be timeless. So I don't think about it, but when I look at the result of Genesis, I'm like, okay, this is going to be one of those that can stand the test of time. 20 years after, it's still going to be relevant in terms of story. Um, you put the right resources behind it, it should age well.
yeah.
And it's just gonna, I just feel like it's gonna be one of those types of films for the next generation. And it may not even be the movie for this generation, but I do think 20 years from now, it's going to be the movie for those people, right?
I'll give
Because
you
it's going
this
to be so
advice.
relevant. Yeah.
I'll give you this advice. Just tell the story that you want to tell.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing you can do. If you do
Yeah.
that, everything else should fall into
Fall
place.
into place. Yeah.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.